From far away in space, the Balearic Islands seem to be lost among the Mediterranean islands as a whole. To the east of them, without the shelter of mountains to protect it from the harsh northern winds, left to its own devices, lies Menorca, the Nora of the ancients, the Menorca of the Muslims. It approaches Mallorca from its ancient capital Ciudadela and opens up to the western Mediterranean from the spacious and safe port of Mahón, which for centuries was a haven for ships and boats from the Mare Nostrum. It will mark its history: Rome, Carthage, Phoenicia, the Muslim invasion, the Reconquest, and from the 18th century, the interests of the great powers, the United Kingdom, France, the United States, and of course Spain, will determine its life and culture. And in the center of this port, a small island of 40,000 square meters will contain the essence of this history of conquests: ships, invasions, trade, a long history of life. In it, the Paleochristians left a basilica in the 6th century. Alfonso III landed there in 1287 and settled his troops in what was then a rock, and from which he recovered the island of Menorca for Christianity. That is why it is called the King's Island. Centuries later, in 1711, England would build a hospital with 1,200 beds for the maintenance of the crews of its Mediterranean fleets. It was here that the shipwrecked crew of the Italian battleship Roma would come to seek relief and care in 1943, in the midst of the Second World War. In 1964, the King's Island ceased to be a hospital. Administrative neglect, oblivion, desolation and pillage were to follow. Years of abandonment offered no project for this jewel of the history of the Mare Nostrum, until 2004, when a small group of volunteers decided to rescue it from the clutches of the undergrowth and total collapse, to make it the monument that deserves the human and cultural legacy that its walls held. Today, the experiences of ancient pandemics are emerging, and messages of hope are being launched from here, born from the testimony of many people from many countries who on King's Island healed their wounds and illnesses. Respectful of the memory of the men and women who on this small island forged the courage to move forward, those who risked their lives to leave us a legacy of prosperity and future. The souls of doctors, nurses, nuns, the sick and wounded who lived through pain and illness within its walls, but also the hope of healing. The King's Island inspires and mobilizes the strength of volunteers who remain faithfully committed to its restoration and recovery. From this simple point, located in the center of the safe and spacious port of Mahón, open to the first son of Spain, Isla del Rey, or King's Island, generously welcomes all visitors and volunteers, offering its enormous historical legacy and its living and encouraging example of an altruistic and voluntary civil society, united without any walls or prejudices, as a platform to design the best future for the generations that follow us.